Alright, so first thing is the soft start at the wells. Well 3 and 4 are up and running. They're good to go. I spoke with DES and he's good with it, so we're all good there. I got a quote on a VFD for the basement because it, like I said, it was the motor was kept overloading. Come to find out, it's a VFD, not the motor, which is very good. It's a lot cheaper than a whole new motor. The quote was a little bit more than I expected. I got one here, but I think I'm gonna get a hold of somebody else too. And there's two VFDs here. That top one matches the VFD that's existing down there, and the one below it is just a different brand that they get better deals on.
Same functionality.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
What are the
Really?
prices on those?
About 6,908, and the other one's 5,000.
I think we can find one for cheaper, honestly.
That's more expensive than I thought.
Yeah, I was thinking the ballpark of like 2,500,
Yep.
but I'm also want to make sure it's going to be right.
Yep.
So I'd rather have an electrician do it
Yep.
and size it and make sure.
And this is pricing,
That's through Fay.
so
through
they'll
Triple A.
install it, do everything?
No.
No, this is just the unit,
Just
just the
the
price.
unit, yeah.
I mean, just the piece, yep. Huh.
Yep.
Who installed it? Would Scott install that or no?
Yeah, Scott should be able to install it.
Good. How long were you running that other pump?
Right.
2 weeks now.
And what do we usually do? Week on, week off?
Usually week on, week off. So we did just shut down and service it last week though, so
Right.
we're good there. Making sure.
Are those mixers running? Just
Yep,
all things?
mixers are up and running.
Alright.
They're back in running.
Yeah, so I think we gotta get on this, if we wanna maintain that cycle,
Yeah.
you know, I wouldn't wanna run it more than another week or so.
How long will it take for it to come in?
That says a week
Wait.
on that one.
Yep.
I can,
We can wait.
what's that?
No, I don't think we can wait. I think
Yep.
Just
I think we just need to take the look at that one and do it because
the lower one?
yeah.
I'll go.
As long
I
as
would
it's
go
the
with-
same, as long as it's the same thing that we have now, just a different brand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in.
alright.
Yeah, I move that we move forward with the VFD for how much?
5,020.
$5,021.42.
5021.42.
Plus
We're in 25, right? Yeah, okay, good.
Yep.
We're on a new budget,
Yep.
so. We were running out on the last budget for stuff like that.
plus, right?
I'm wondering, I'm just throwing this out there, I don't know if, since we're doing upgrades to those pumps with shifts and belts and all that, you think there's any way we can squeeze that into some forgiveness or as part of that? Probably not.
What's the question?
Like if we can use some of the
Get it into the
CWSRF money towards that, since we're already upgrading part of the pumps and.
Oh, towards this?
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah, I would ask it. It's gonna be a reimbursement anyway, so I would definitely ask.
Right.
You know,
Alright.
I'd make the purchase, just
Right.
get it bought, and then
Yeah,
do it as a requisition, reimbursement or whatever.
Can we get a second on that?
I'll second that.
Any other discussion around that?
Do we need to put in that vote before the, having Scott install it or
That's,
I think
That's
just
just
general?
Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah,
be
okay.
minimal.
I just wanna make sure.
yeah.
We need to.
Yeah, any other discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any no's or abstentions? Okay.
alright. Those were the two big things. Burt's hydrant's done, finally. Came in, we put it in,
Yeah, that went well.
up and running. Very minimal damage. It just barely got into the hot tub, not even at all.
That's nice. That's neat.
Divers are done and pulled out. They'll be here Monday morning to do the shivs on the blowers. I spoke to Russ at RCS and he said they'll be here around 9:30.
That's a different company, right? I mean, or is RCS?
RCS is the person that got the bid. He subbed out the divers.
Right, but the person doing the shivs and the.
Yeah, I'm
that's
not sure.
Somebody else entirely.
I am not sure.
Through Russ, but
It's through
another
Russ.
person.
Yeah, okay.
We already got the new sheds.
He was ordering. That's all on him. Meters are red. Manhole on the common is done. Well, it's concreted down. We just gotta cold patch it in. Once it gets some little bit warmer weather, we can spread it.
What, you didn't like today?
Yeah.
Brutal.
It's gonna be warmer tomorrow. We should be able to get that done tomorrow. I did notice under new business, if you want me to touch on this,
Sure.
I'd put it down. Under new business, we have safety training. I was just on Granite State's website last week. They are doing a ton of safety stuff. February 11th is going to be a road safety excavation and falls class, and then March 4th and 5th they're doing a full OSHA 10 certification, which I think that would be pretty beneficial.
Is that March 5th?
Yeah, March 4th and 5th.
Are these, does Granite State provide this stuff like free of charge or?
No, it's not. You get a reduced rate with being a member,
Yep.
but non-members are like a fuller. It's not much of a reduced rate. I can look them up, what the prices are. They have it on the calendars.
I was just curious. I would definitely plan on doing those though, for sure.
Yeah.
Is that offsite?
Yeah, I'll have to figure out where it is. They have it on the calendar. I don't look exactly where they are,
I think it's the college though. I think they offer a bunch of OSHA 10 for free and
they may.
it's Key State. And I think they do a bunch of safety training. You might want to touch out with them too. Just because they're a lot closer. I know we got an OSHA fine once and we were able to get free training. They can just
Yeah. Then the last thing I have is last week, all week, effluent was shut down with the dredging that was going on. It was dropping our lagoon levels quite a bit, and I didn't shut the effluent off. I got a hold of DES. They put us on a no discharge so that we're not going to get hit for not sampling because there's nothing to sample. And I turned back on Friday. We're back up and running again. So running about 50 gallons a minute to match what we're taking in, right around 70,000 a day. So for a week we weren't adding any chemicals or nothing. Just letting them dredge and do their thing.
So what are our effluent numbers look like after you turn this back on? Is that what
I'll
you're
get my
talking
first day. I grabbed my first round of samples yesterday.
about? Okay.
pH and E. coli's are great. That's
Okay.
what we run in housing chlorine. Actually, our E. coli was amazing. There wasn't even any coliform in there.
Okay.
So, which is, I was kind of surprised. I was a little leery,
Yeah.
but I figured I'd get at least a few colonies, but there was absolutely nothing.
And then we get the rest of the test back from whenever.
Yep.
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 And then we'll be able to really see after I anticipate maybe having a little TSS with them working right there in that lagoon.
Yep.
But
What's TSS?
Yeah, right.
total
Solids.
suspended solids.
Okay, okay.
Yep. So we'll we'll see once they come in. But
Yeah.
it looks pretty clear.
So the suspended solids. I mean, how long had they been
It's
out of that lagoon before you turned it on and pulled your first test?
About 5 days, 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
So
little time, I guess.
there's still a lot of detention time because it's still going to go through Lagoon 2B.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're looking at another 15 to 20 days there.
Yeah.
So everything would probably settle out by then, anyways.
Good.
Oh, and then so when we went to go do the manhole, tried to fire up the generator or our air compressor that we had running, and I couldn't get it to start. And Corny advised, why don't we just buy an electric jackhammer instead of dealing with that 1970s air compressor jackhammer that we've got. So I just got some prices. I had Tobin put together some prices just from Harbor Freight for an electric jackhammer. We've got the generator that'll run it, and then he pulled up a cement mixer too. A cement mixer and a pipe saw. I was like, just put together a wish list. I'll bring it to the board, and we'll see. But I think a
Christmas was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I said a wish list, not a Christmas list.
Oh, the wish list is year round. That's right. I
What's the
forgot.
difference between those two hammers?
That one's a little bigger. Yeah. And plus how you hold it.
That
That-
one, so that one's a turn on, so this one you turn it on with that rocker switch. I have two of these, and it stays on. This one's a hand grip one.
Yeah.
Just borrow quarters.
That-
I've run. Keith has one like that. It's not.
What's that?
No, I'm sure.
Oh,
will
yeah,
soon.
they do.
You have to check, but
Right.
Yeah.
They don't, we don't, yeah, the batteries would be like that
Mine just
damn
did.
air compressor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna comment on all this.
what's
Like they've,
what's the prices on those?
there's $500 and $650.
650 for the bigger one.
I think this is safer, but.
I would. Yeah.
I
think this
so
one's
I
safer
can tell
too.
you that my guys have cut the cord off with mine with the thing sitting, the rocker switch. We had one of them
Yeah, I
cut the
don't-
cord right off because it,
I
you
don't
have to
really
pick it up,
care.
set it down, and then shut the rocker switch off, and we set it down on the cord, and it went.
Yeah, and this one, it should be. I know with Keith's, you actually have to put down pressure on it so it goes down in order to start hitting, not just push the button.
Did you have more to say about?
No, I mean,
They definitely need a jackhammer.
yeah.
They definitely need a jackhammer, but that thing out there is just a time bomb in my opinion.
Can we get a few bucks for it?
I would send it to the state auction and probably be surprised.
Yeah. That's what I do too.
I would
That's all we
pull it
used
up
it.
there.
Is that
but-
all we used it for? Was the jackhammer?
Yep.
The compressor, yeah.
I mean, the holes go into it, the hammer actually doesn't even belong to this department, it's on Barrow.
Yeah.
Who's it borrowed from?
Danny.
He's
Who?
Danny.
Furman.
No, he's gonna become a
I was gonna say, I
collector.
think
He's
he's
not
gonna
coming to
want
collect
that.
it, but I'm just going.
Danny's looking down on us right now, going, you know what? You can just have this.
You'll be-
I don't know.
The lights are gonna start
He's probably
flickering here
not.
pretty
He's probably like, I
soon.
want that back.
He's probably yelling at me for saying it's junk, but.
Yeah, exactly. It's not.
The hammer's not junk. The hammer.
No, he would say,
Another
he'd be
20
paying, he'd be fixing that thing.
Oh,
Danny
yeah.
was very good about,
I've got a lot of hours into fixing that thing, and it's.
there you go.
Well,
There's
let's
the
get the
answer.
hammer back to whoever is responsible for his estate, and then.
I mean, those
Send the
aren't
rest down
crucial. I said put together a wish list.
Right, yeah, yeah, it's good to know.
But eventually, because if we're gonna be doing a bunch of manholes, the cement mixer's nice. But at the rate that we do, we could probably rent one.
And the pipe saw, the pipe saw thing, like, their pipe saw needs to be looked
Yeah.
at, but I'm sure it's probably at the end of its
Yeah.
journey.
I see your cement mixer.
It's 260.
Yeah, it's just an electric one. I don't know how well that would work.
I'll tell you, for what you do and for how much you do it, I would just get one of those wheelbarrow ones. I have one at work.
Oh, yeah,
And then
absolutely.
you just wheel it around and dump it in where you need it. And
These
Really?
things tend to flip over.
yeah, this is not gonna do anything.
Yeah, I don't. I've never used one of those.
So, all right, get Justin out of here. I was sick for 2 months. I don't.
I've been since the last meeting. The last
So
meeting.
do
I
we
had
want him to get
fever.
one of these? Is that what you need to make a motion?
No, he's.
That's what it-
Yeah, it's in his
Alright.
discretion.
We'll hold off on these until.
Yeah. Yeah, we can hold off on this too.
But
I
the
think
pipe
we
saw,
should.
the pipe saw, I would just, I honestly, I'd drop it off down in one of the,
Yeah.
Send it to Ronnie's or something.
Yeah.
well, don't
stars.
start good hard
Stars
and stuff, but
really
that's,
hard.
my experience is that when they start doing that, they got low compression.
Well, let's bring it somewhere.
I mean, it's
I would take it down,
it's
honestly, I
15
think,
years old now, so.
I'd take it right down to Troy Auto. I mean,
Yeah.
they service all my small engine stuff.
Yeah, he'll be honest about it. He'll
Right.
tell
I mean,
you.
the first thing he'll do is compression test
He'll
on
tell
it.
you to throw it in the trash.
Right. I mean, they don't.
Okay.
Already.
Anything else? The one thing, well, we'll talk about that. I was gonna talk about some of these, resumes we have,
Yeah.
and that, but at least we'll have to talk.
Alright. Sounds good.
Any questions for Justin before he leaves?
What's our next meeting?
It's gonna be the normal, so would be Thursday, the 24th, the 23rd.
Okay.
Should be able to keep a pretty normal schedule.
Question before you go, the hydrant on the common that has an intermittent leaking issue,
Mhm.
is there a plan for that? What are your thoughts on that?
That's gonna be my next one fixed, to
Okay.
replace.
Is
And
that-
I think it started leaking because after we did the hydrant, that
Yep.
was shut down. So the drop in pressure,
Yep.
it probably could just kinda screw something up with the donut.
Yep.
And then, once we pressurized it,
So you
jockeyed
were
it a
able to
little
tighten
bit.
that up, get it to stop leaking, so.
Went down and whacked it with a hammer and stopped.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Those old hydrants, so the way those old hydrants work is when you open it, it pulls the donut up,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how it flows in. Now, new hydrants, what it does is it actually pushes the stem down, and the donut's at the bottom, and it pushes it down and allows the water to flow in. That way, when it's held shut by system pressure,
Yep.
so when it gets hit by a car and sheared off, system pressure holds it from leaking, or it doesn't look like Hollywood where
Yeah,
they
okay, I get it.
So,
Yeah.
so those old hydrants, it's just a straight stem. If you tweak it down and it can't get it to stop, give it a thump,
Yep.
and then if it doesn't stop, try to crank it a little bit more.
Yep.
It stops it.
But it's good for now.
Yep.
Yep.
We gotta stop. So.
Okay. Yeah, if there's anything, I'll do like I'll send you an email or I'll see you on Monday. We'll go over
Alright.
anything else that was important.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. See you guys later.
Yeah, feel better.
Monday works for you?
Monday.
Yeah.
For
Meeting.
yes. As of right now, yes.
Well, let me know, like, the night
I'll let-
before.
I'll let you
please.
know
Because
Sunday.
I schedule,
Yeah.
if you can't make it, just let me know the night before, so
Yeah.
I don't, because I schedule my, what I got going on.
All right. Sounds good. All right. See you guys.
See you, Justin.
Thanks.
Alright, Chad, I won't make you sit through the rest of this, so,
As much as you want to.
Couldn't catch up.
so I know you talked about two things, I think one of them, you tell me might be non-public, and then one of them, I'm not sure what the other one is, property wise. Looks
You
like
gonna
you have
show us
something to
something?
show
We're
us.
gonna get
Yeah, I do have a plan I want to show you. So I own a 16-acre piece in town, and had it for many years. And now my kids are starting to go to college and graduate from college, so we're looking at some options for. And my business partner Joel Berg is kind of the same situation. We have the same age kids, so affordable housing nowadays doesn't exist, and so parents get to try to make housing affordable for their kids, and
Sure.
that's where we are. So I own it's just shy of 16 acres. It's off of South Street, at the end of Memorial Drive. Sorry, this is South Main Street, South Street over here, and then Memorial Drive here. And what I'm looking to do is to create, basically 6 or 7 residential lots so that I can build, some homes for, potentially for our kids. I've sat on this for, I think, probably 12, 13 years, and there's currently municipal sewer. I think the last manhole's here. I think that you and your brother may have built the house
Yep.
here, right?
Yeah, it's my mother's place, yep.
Yeah. And so I know you're very familiar with this. I think the last municipal manhole is here. The water, comes up and around. I think the last hydrant's here.
Correct.
But the topography on our site, my site, really falls kind of to the east towards towards South Street. And so I was just looking at inverts, and it looks like I could maybe run a gravity line off of Memorial Drive for a connection that may be able to service, the homes that we're talking about. And then the thought is there's a hydrant here too at the end of Memorial Drive. There's really no place to turn around, so we thought maybe we could do a turnaround there for the town, and then, you know, kind of come off of that with a driveway that would service, you know, 2 units. I'm showing like a gravel drive here, just because this is where I think I'm here really to talk about this, so if there's ideas or whatnot, but my thought is maybe this is where the utilities could be, and we could put an easement there, and that way there's access to shut-offs and things like that. But I'm not in a rush. You know, the whole thing with the sewer situation in town, the other thing that I don't want to do is start down a process that I can't complete. And so if there's availability still, I don't know if I can buy some of that so that I can go and get this, you know, it meets all the regulations. I don't anticipate any issues with the planning board, but at the same time, nobody likes to waste their time. So I just wanted to come here and have a discussion and, you know, see what the commission thinks, if I'm missing something or if there's concerns. I could do septic and wells. I'd rather not, if at all possible. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Joel and I built the building on Monadnock Street, and it'd probably be a similar type of like a ranch structure, you know, here. If I had
You're talking
to guess.
3-bed, 2-bath type places?
Yeah, this would be 3-bed, 2-bath.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what are you, so the red squares are the
Those are potential homes.
potential
Yeah.
homes, okay, so you have 5 in this plan.
Yeah.
What would you be doing right out of the gate? Hopefully we can get an answer for you as to the process for procuring access to the sewer plant.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of your Achilles heel at this point, so.
Sure. And I don't know what the availability is, but I'm kind of the type of person that I'd like to secure all 5, and I'd probably do them within a year. My son's graduating from college this coming year, and Joel has 2 kids out of college that they've been looking for lots, and so we just kind of started talking about this, and you know, it's a pretty viable option at this point. And so that's 3. My daughter will be right behind, and you know, who knows? I mean, if they didn't want them, then we'd sell, you know, maybe 1 or 2 as well.
Yep.
But
Yeah, so our process for for applying for access, so the connection itself, water and sewer connections, is we follow the building permit process. So once you have a building permit in place, we would then, you know, be reviewing your application for access at that point. So I know it's not necessarily what you want to hear, because you kind of got to get through a lot of this other stuff to get to the building permit part of it. But that's how we do it for everybody else. So that's how we would have to do it. We don't have anything in place
There's no,
or any
like,
precedent to,
allocation or whatever.
right, there's no, and given our, like, normally if we had a bunch of room, this wouldn't be an issue, but given our situation, we've got to kind of just treat every situation exactly the same way, so.
Yep, no, that's
Yeah.
understandable. So, I
We
own
do-
other lots in town. Can I pull building permits on lots that I own and then transfer them here? Or-
Well, so don't tell us that. No, in my opinion, if you have a building lot and you get a building permit for that, and it's in the water sewer district, and you want to request a connection for that site, and we grant it, you now have that until your building permit expires. So if somebody else comes in and takes up all the other connections, you still own that connection. So, and I mean, this would be an opinion of the board, but you have it at that point, and it belongs to that site. And if you, for some reason, didn't use it on that site, whatever it may be, there's no reason why you couldn't say, okay, well, I'm gonna relinquish my connection over here, and at the same time be putting in an application over here.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys, what your thought process is on that.
Right.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna think out loud here, but, you know, how much work would it take? Kind of question for the board, like, when when he moves through that process to procure a building permit for these sites, how far along, you know, how much, I guess, resources do you commit to that to get to a point where you can do that, and, how many, you know, do we have unlimited access to renewals on those permits, or is it
So-
2, or is it?
So on our side, he's gotta go through the entire planning process, right? So, and this is gonna be a subdivision of land because it is currently one lot, right?
Yeah.
So he's gonna do a subdivision, and I don't think there's any site plan that's required for this, it's just a subdivision. So then after that, he would be applying for the permits after that, so, and then the permits are good for 1 year. I've seen where the select board has issued them for longer, but we would just follow whatever that timeline is. But if we follow the timeline that exists for building permits, it's good for 1 year, and you're allowed to renew those building permits. They really don't have any limitations as to,
Only once. That was put in.
what's that?
You can only renew it once. That was put in.
Okay, so they changed that. So when did that change?
Last year. We put it in last year because too many people were constantly renewing. So you get one renewal, then you have to start the process all over again.
So that's reflected on the building permit application now?
I believe it is.
No, it's not. So what the building permit application currently says is you're allowed to renew twice. And at the end of the second one, you are back in for a new application. That's what the building permit application says right now. So if it was like December of last year, then I haven't looked at it since then, but in looking at it,
I just did one, I'm pretty confident it's 3. Two.
yeah, you get the first year, you get 2 renewals, that give you 3 total years. And if your building permit expires and you haven't done anything with it and it expires with the select board, then you're back to the application process, and your bedroom count that you had reserved with us would go back into the pool, and then you'd have to request it back out.
Right.
That's how I see it.
So my background, I'm a civil engineer, practiced for 25 plus years. In a lot of communities, you can buy like allocations. And part of the reason why I think they do that is because if I go and get this subdivision approved, I'm now paying taxes on each one of these lots.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so one side of the town says it's buildable, even if it maybe isn't, you know, I mean, there's an abatement process for that if that was the situation, but I just wanna try to keep it on, but this is all good information, yeah.
You mentioned 5 or 6. Where would you put the 6th one?
Yeah,
Would
so
you put
there's
the
another
6th
lot here.
over there.
Yeah.
Different lot.
Yeah, so and I didn't show a building on here because honestly, I'm not sure exactly if I want to come off of Memorial or off of South Street, and I'm not really in a rush. So, you know, Joel and I spitballed 5 lots. We have 5 kids together, and you know, that was kind of the nightly project, I guess you could say. But yeah, and I mean, these would be, you know, it's nice. It's a nice road along South Main Street there. You know, off of Memorial Drive, they'd be nice lots. But
So to give you a little bit of understanding of where we're at, there's 31. So the way we settled it with the state is we're doing it by the capacity by bedroom. So we figured out an average that bedrooms use in town, and they've allowed us to take on the amount of capacity that was equivalent to, I think, 39 bedrooms. Since then, a few have been picked up, but there's 31 bedrooms left. So if you had 5 3-bedroom homes, you got 15 bedrooms. So since we implemented that in the beginning of 21, beginning of 22, I think, is when this all started, we've used 8 bedrooms. To
Okay.
give you an idea of
yeah,
what's being used. Yeah. So that's just the organic stuff that's going on a regular basis. So to give you an idea of, like, you know,
What about
how
gas?
yeah, how quickly are these things going? So yeah, and obviously the mill project is a giant question mark in the middle of all that. So there's some talk about, not really, it's not fully understood exactly what's going on, but there's some talk about 29 1-bedroom units being the first phase of that. And that's the only other but if that somehow comes in with a true application in here, which the application requires a number of things that are not in place over there, then we would be obligated to you know, look at that application. That's the only scenario I feel for you that would jump in front of you.
Okay.
And kind of hog up your units.
Would allocate too many.
Yep, exactly. At that point, we'd only have 2 bedrooms left, and you wouldn't have enough to do what you're trying to do. You wouldn't have enough to do one home. If that were to happen in between you doing what you're doing now and getting to the end of the planning phase and getting your building permits.
Gotcha, okay. All right, well, all good information.
So with that,
I got 1 building permit here.
what's the layout of the water and sewer? What's your thought? What's your plan here? Like, where are your driveways going in for this?
Yeah,
and
so
how's
the
that all-
driveways would be off, these 3 would be off of South Main.
Okay.
That's my thought. These would probably be walkout units just because they would work well with the topography. And then I'd have a common driveway here that would probably follow the utilities in here, you know, spin off and then spin off. And then my thought here was that I'd come in here with, probably an 8-inch main. We'd probably drop it'd be a private manhole unless the town wanted the manhole, but probably end this run in the manhole just because that's probably the right way to terminate, a line like that. But we could do a clean out too if that was preferred. And then we'd have just services, that would come off of this line, to the units. The water, we haven't figured out the size water line. And this is really a question. I mean, we could run an extension here and then have all this, we could have all the service connections off of that with meters down at the turnaround, but that would just be, we'd basically be running a bunch of water services in the trench. That could be the way it's handled. It really depends on what the commission's preference, or we could run a slightly larger line have an easement over this area so that there's access to it, and then we could have shut-offs, and there'd be access to, let's say the commission felt this should terminate the manhole, be access to that manhole, and then we would, and we're really just kind of spitballing some ideas. We looked that up here. It would be like we'd have to do, like a gravity manhole somewhere here, and we'd probably be, pump systems, E1 systems or something like that in the homes, rather not have
get to the
get
road.
to the manhole.
Yep.
Rather not have that. When we started looking at elevations, this manhole is about 6 feet deep, and the elevation climbs the whole way, in this direction. So we could easily, accomplish a gravity line, there that I think would be very serviceable, less of a headache from a maintenance standpoint. And then the water being right here, if we're doing one utility, it's nice just to go 10 feet over and to do the next if possible, and then we're working in the same spot, and that was our thought.
Do you have a copy of our latest water and sewer ordinances?
I don't yet.
We gotta, you can actually get them right on the website.
Okay.
That will outline some of the requirements for new mains going in, easement requirements, the distance between manholes, all of those things are kind of laid out in there.
Yeah.
So that might answer some of your questions as to what you can and can't do as far as the main portion of it. I think it does talk about some, spaghetti lines, so to speak, and I don't know if that is what that would be considered if you put all your meter pits up at one end or not. So, so that
probably not looking for that if I had to guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't think that the ordinance is looking for that specifically. So, a nice main coming in, like you have it laid out there, both water and sewer coming in with the services coming off, and then an easement so that we can, because our ordinance states that we are responsible to the shut-off itself.
Yeah.
So the shut-off is ours, and everything to the main is ours. And we've had some other instances in town where the whole main is not eased. So the only shut-off we actually have access to, although we're responsible to maintain that, we don't have an easement on it, so and then it has services coming off of that main, and so we're trying to avoid that.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. So
Yeah.
you must have a minimum, if that's the case, you're gonna own the line, then there's probably a minimum water line size that you'd be looking
I
for.
would think so. Yep.
Okay.
It's all sized up.
Yeah, I think that's in there as well, so.
Okay.
And if it isn't, we can obviously talk with the superintendent and figure out what we need for flow analysis and to determine line and all that, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this looks, we're willing to work with you guys on this, so it's not,
Yeah.
like, we're not.
We want
Don't
more,
have any issues.
we want more customers.
Okay.
We need more customers, Chad, so, yeah,
Alright,
yeah,
so
definitely.
no red flags other than the sewer thing.
Yeah, just a capacity issue and the timing on that, you know, is the only kind of, you know, tough spot that you have, but for us anyway.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, alright, great. Well, I was coming here for the other thing, and so I said, well, I'm gonna maybe talk about this at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
perfect. Well, I appreciate everybody's time, and I'll take a look at that, and we'll see if we turn this into a race car.
Yep.
Do we wanna discuss the other part?
We talking about, Mill Street? Probably needs to be non-public, right?
That was my thought, yes.
Well, we can do it non-public, and then if it seems like if it's, you know,
Right.
publicly available information, we can just make the minutes available publicly, so.
Right. So in an effort to not trap Chad here, we can do that now.
Make a motion, we go into non-public under reputation, whatever that is. Adam, that's you. Whatever that number is.
Okay, roll call now on, so Lee, Ben,
Aye.